Bonjour à tous. Merci d'être avec nous à nouveau pour ce deuxième vendredi, ce deuxième rendez-vous du mois du retail. Au sommaire de cette matinée, nous allons donc tenter de craquer la Chine, en tout cas d'éclairer les pratiques des commerçants et des e-commerçants grâce à l'éclairage de Xiaofeng Wang. Nous allons ensuite tenter de faire tomber la frontière entre digital et local avec les éclairages de Fabien Versavo, qui est CEO de Rakuten, et d'Amandine de Souza, qui analysera les pratiques qu'elle met en œuvre pour le BHV Marais et Italie qu'elle dirige. Nous reparlerons du sujet du paiement, qui est un enjeu clé qu'on a commencé à effleurer la semaine dernière. Et nous retrouverons deux habitués, les équipes de Business First d'une part et Majda Chaplin d'autre part pour son interview durable avec une nouvelle invitée. Pour l'heure, je suis pour ma part accompagnée de Sonia Mamin. Bonjour Sonia.
Bonjour Charlotte.
Pour ce deuxième rendez-vous, du coup, pour ceux qui n'étaient pas avec nous la semaine dernière, on a terminé par une annonce, celle des nouvelles dates du One-to-One Monaco.
Absolument. Donc, on a le plaisir en fait de vous annoncer que l'événement physique du One-to-One Retail e-commerce aura bien lieu en 2021. Les dates sont déjà fixées, du 26 au 28 octobre, donc dans 6 mois.
Bon, donc 2021, octobre, date est prise. On a déjà fait un petit peu le sommaire de la matinée, en tout cas de ces 2 heures. C'est un format que vous avez voulu récurrent tout au long du mois. C'est un peu le nouveau Casual Friday finalement.
C'est le Casual Friday. Donc, on a lancé donc, le mois du retail. Rendez-vous tous les vendredis matins de 9h à 11h, 11h15 en fonction d'eux. L'idée, c'est de pouvoir justement être sur les formats courts et que vous puissiez y assister, dégager du temps pour pouvoir écouter, rencontrer les partenaires aussi, de gérer du networking en fait sur la plateforme sur laquelle vous êtes aujourd'hui.
Sachant que comme à Monaco, finalement, il y a une partie éditoriale et puis il y a une partie qui permet de prendre des rendez-vous. Il y a tout un tas d'autres fonctionnalités sur cette plateforme dont il faut peut-être dire un mot pour qu'elle soit prise en main.
Exactement. Donc ne soyez pas timide. Vous avez aujourd'hui en fait une plateforme qui vous permet de découvrir les partenaires qui correspondent à des enjeux business que vous pouvez avoir, que ce soit pour le paiement, la logistique, l'acquisition, etc. Donc vous allez avoir le listing en fait de l'ensemble de ces partenaires. Vous pouvez donc en savoir plus et vous avez aussi la possibilité, bien entendu, de demander des rendez-vous. C'est pas engageant, ça vous permet de être à l'écoute et d'avoir des premières discussions avec eux.
Sachant qu'il y a aussi la possibilité de participer, comme un peu le comité éditorial que vous réunissez chaque année, à des sortes de conférences de rédaction pour nourrir les sujets dont on parlera. Parce qu'on a commencé à évoquer certains, mais la liste peut être longue et il y a, je crois, un groupe qui est dédié justement à ce sujet.
Voilà, donc en fait, vous allez voir sur le côté gauche de votre écran un onglet qui s'appelle Social Area, dans laquelle vous allez retrouver des groupes de discussion et on a notamment lancé 2 groupes de discussion, un qui est le best-of du mois du retail, donc partagez vos feedbacks qui ont été nombreux, que l'on a eu nombreux en fait la semaine dernière, plus par téléphone ou par email, donc là faites-le sur la plateforme, c'est sympa. Le deuxième groupe de discussion, c'est effectivement la conf de rédac. On a décidé en fait de récupérer en fait toutes vos idées pour finalement établir le programme de l'édition du One-to-One du mois d'octobre.
Merci beaucoup Sonia. Puis il y a aussi cette notion de sondage qui va permettre à la communauté qui est avec nous, à vous qui êtes là, de participer un petit peu, de nous faire un petit peu sentir votre perception des sujets. On va parler notamment ce matin de live streaming avec Xiaofeng Wang dans quelques instants. Donc on propose par exemple de commencer par vous poser une première question sur ce sujet. D'après vous, le décollage du live streaming en France, c'est pour quand? Alors, est-ce que ce serait dans les 6 mois, dans plus d'1 an ou dans 2-3 ans environ. On va vous partager ce sondage et s'il vous plaît, donnez-nous un petit peu votre avis sur la question, qu'on puisse le partager sur ce plateau avec nos invités. Je le disais il y a 2 secondes, on va tenter de craquer la Chine. En tout cas, c'est la question qui a été posée à Xiaofeng. Je propose, Sonia, qu'on l'accueille tout de suite. Elle qui est Senior Analyst Serving B2C Marketing Professional at Forrester, Xiaofeng Wang. Merci, Sonia.
Merci, Charlotte.
Thank you, Charlotte. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Xiaofeng. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Charlotte?
I'm good too. I know that you are not fluent in French, but in Mandarin and English, so we maybe switch to a more international language now.
Yeah, thank you. English, please.
Just to introduce you, you are coming from the largest microblogging platform in China, Sina Weibo, and you are currently helping B2C marketing and digital business professionals develop effective digital marketing and omni-channel engagement strategy for the Asia-Pacific market, right?
Yes.
Correct. And you are focused on the social, mobile, and digital behaviors of consumers in Asia-Pacific in order to help them to harness digital platforms like Alibaba and WeChat, drive awareness, engagement, and brand loyalty, I think. So everybody will now be really interested in hearing what you can share with us and what particular trends in e-commerce you picked this morning.
Thank you, Charlotte. Okay, let me share my screen.
And then we will discover the result of the first question we asked our community. Keep a finger on the pulse of digital China.
Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen now.
I think so.
So today, great. So today I'm going to talk about the top 3 digital trends in China. And so there are 3 key reasons why you must crack China. The first, because it will soon to be the world's #1 economy. And the question is when, right? Because of the COVID-19, actually the timeline has moved up at least 4 or 5 years. In 5 years, that's the most optimistic estimation, right? China will surpass the US as the world's #1 economy. That's the first reason. The second reason, even you don't target China as your key market and your business priorities are elsewhere, you still need to focus on China because China is leading ahead in digital transformation, in digital innovations, especially consumer-facing digital innovations. So a lot of innovations are happening first in China, such as QR codes, mobile payment, social media, innovations such as WeChat, the super apps, live streaming commerce, new retail, which is combining physical retail and digital retail together, the application of emerging technologies such as AR, VR, and AI. It moves a lot faster in China. If you are looking for the best practices and most mature examples, you have to look at China. And we see those innovations are expanding to the rest of the world, including Europe as well. So, and China now takes about 1/3 of the global unicorns. And the leaders include ByteDance and Didi, which is a taxi, a ride-hailing app. So with that, the third reason you need to understand China because its digital ecosystem is wired completely differently. So there are different aspects, but I will highlight a few. First is work culture. I know everyone works really hard in the West, but in China, a lot of companies, especially startups and technology firms, they adopted this work system called 996, which requires employees to work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 6 days a week. So they are more demanding in terms of customers are more demanding. If you want to operate a business in China, they have to meet their needs. And also digital economic models are very different. In the West, brands use publicity and only a small part is transactions. And because in Europe, about 85% of the transactions are still on offline channels. Only 15% are online. And because of COVID-19, the percentage is increasing very fast. And even when we talk about online transactions, it's mostly on brands' own website. But in China, it's very different. E-commerce takes about 30 to 40%. And it's more about third-party e-commerce platforms and the social media, social commerce like on WeChat and on Little Red Book. Last one I want to highlight is the traditional marketing channels like search marketing, email marketing doesn't work the same in China. It's already replaced by e-commerce search or WeChat messaging, and as well as companies' official websites are already replaced by WeChat public accounts and mini programs. So let's go to the first digital trend I want to highlight today. WeChat mini programs are no longer mini. So many of us heard of WeChat and heard of mini programs, but WeChat mini programs are growing so fast and so important to retailers if they need to consider engage with consumers and even selling to consumers in China. So today there are over 1 million WeChat mini programs, and actually 90% of them have e-commerce features. And daily active users of mini programs already reached 400 million. And its GMV last year in 2020 already reached 207 billion euros, which equivalents to more than 60% of the second largest e-commerce marketplace in China, JD.com. So WeChat mini program becomes a very important e-commerce channels. And COVID-19 actually accelerated this trend. Consumers rely on social media such as WeChat and Douyin, which is the Chinese version of TikTok, more and more. And I also want to highlight the online shopping journey in China is very different from the journey in the West. So in the West, consumers, the journey covers more channels, more digital ecosystems. They would use Google to search. When they follow influencers on social media like Instagram or Facebook, they got inspired, and then they would find products on brand.com, on marketplaces, and about 80% actually happening on brands' own websites rather than e-commerce marketplaces. And some consumers, they search directly on Amazon marketplaces as well. And in terms of transaction, they use multiple payment methods, MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, more fragmented. And in China, it happens mainly on two ecosystems, WeChat and Alipay. Today, I'm going to focus on WeChat. Consumers, they can search on WeChat for brands and products they want to purchase. They can find a list of products, or they can follow brand's official account, and then which will lead to brands' mini programs. They can buy products and then complete transactions with WeChat Pay without leaving the WeChat platform at all. And also, leveraging WeChat, it actually fundamentally changed how retailers, especially luxury brands, use social and combining that to their physical retail experience. Burberry is a good example. So they launched a WeChat mini program for e-commerce, and they actually created a new, very unique feature, which is only available on WeChat mini program. If you check Burberry's other e-commerce sites in other countries, it doesn't have that, which is social gifting. So consumers can buy this product and invite someone else to complete the payment. And on the right side, you can see Burberry actually, along with WeChat, opened the first social retail store in China. So it also introduced social currency that consumers, no matter they engage with Burberry on WeChat or within the physical store, so they can gain social currency. They can use those currency to personalize their shopping experience, no matter online and offline. So they can make reservation for the fitting room and also personalize the fitting room experience they want to. Last point I want to mention about WeChat is WeChat keeps evolving. It introduces new features constantly. So for example, this channels feature is still in beta version. It's very similar to Instagram, but with more innovative features such as bulletin subtitles that shows real-time comments on the screen. And the second trend is fate of luxury success depends on China. So for Forrester's forecast, by the end of 2021, there will be over 91 million luxury buyers in China. And the scale of luxury retail sales in China will reach 118 billion US dollars. China already represents more than 1/3 of global luxury retail sales, far ahead of the second one, the US. And 8 of the 10 luxury brands Chinese consumers purchase most often are European brands, including 4 French brands. Also, Chinese luxury buyers, they are actually younger than their peers in the West, and they are well educated and always online. So I want to highlight the average age of luxury buyers in China, only 37 years old, and almost 50%, like 48% of them are actually under the age of 35, and 56% of them are online constantly. So that's why luxury brands, if they want to crack the Chinese market, they have to leverage digital platforms. So those luxury brands in China, so they opened WeChat official accounts, basically everyone. Most of them have mini programs. And they also launched Tmall, because Tmall has this luxury e-commerce channel, Tmall Pavilion, and Douyin, which is the Chinese version of TikTok, as mentioned. And there are less familiar channels like Little Red Book as well. So the key for luxury brands to differentiate with themselves is to target at consumers and send the brand messages that they are most interested. So our data shows Chinese consumers actually, the top information they want to receive from luxury brands is services that are exclusive to loyal customers. The last trend, live streaming commerce, is the next frontier of e-commerce. And Forrester forecast it will reach 100 billion US dollars by 2023 in China alone. And I want to highlight a few key features of live streaming commerce by comparing it with TV home shopping. First is rich engagement. Because live streaming commerce, it allows two-way and multi-way communications. Consumers can talk to a host directly. They can ask questions and get answers from their peer viewers. So that's better engagement. Second is it accelerates, it boosts impulse purchase because it allows click to buy. When consumers watch live streaming sessions, they can click the button and complete transactions without leaving the platform. And the last point is about trust. So hosts of live streaming sessions are usually influencers they like or they trust. And products those influencers recommend can earn more trust from consumers, and they are more comfortable to buy these products. And to luxury brands, it's very important. Live streaming has become Chinese consumers' favorite way to interact with luxury brands. It has surpassed social media, surpassed a physical store, and the brand's websites. And of course, early adopters generated very positive business outcomes on live streaming commerce experimentations in China, including Louis Vuitton and Burberry. So Burberry live streaming on Tmall actually generated 4 million views. And Louis Vuitton chose Little Red Book to host its live streaming sessions. And for both live streaming sessions for two brands, all of the products they are selling actually got sold out on the day. So that's all I'm going to share today. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to answer if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Xiaofeng. I think we do. Actually, we already have one question. The first question would be, what mistakes do some Western or international brands commonly make, even when they have a mature presence in China, like luxury brands? And it comes from Louise.
Yeah, so there are a couple I want to highlight it too, right? The first is really understand the cultural sensitivity, so cultural differences. So I will give an example. Dolce & Gabbana made this mistake. They launched a cultural insensitive ad marketing campaign in China and caused a consumer backlash. That's one. Second, which is more common, a lot of multinational companies, including luxury brands, when they entered China, so they still have this, that headquarters make the most important marketing decisions. And then therefore it takes longer time to launch their China-specific marketing strategy and the plans. It once took a luxury brand 6 months to decide whether they want to open the WeChat account or not. So like it literally took too long, especially in China when emerging digital platforms are coming up all the time, and consumers' expectations is I want to see new things from brands all the time, and it has to move much faster if they want to do business in China. Yeah.
Okay, I'm still with Sonia. Sonia, you want to maybe ask something specific to Xiaofeng?
Yes. So, what would be your 2 or 3 best practices for companies who want to invest in China?
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. So the first recommendation I would say is brave to and willing to experiment, because China's digital ecosystem is very different and you need to try and error. So you can try different platforms, different methods, and then you can understand which one works better for you. I think that's the first one. The second one is really focus on localization, because globalization doesn't work so well, especially for China when the market is so different, consumers' demands is different, and also I mentioned the digital ecosystem is wired completely differently. So companies need to have a China-specific marketing strategy, and most importantly, they need to work with local supports, like trust and build their local experts, local talent. And in this way, a lot of brands, they eventually, and the last point is find the local partners as well. I'll give example, Starbucks. So they had a very successful business outside of China, and when most of Chinese consumers use WeChat and Alipay, they still focus on their own Starbucks mobile app. And then a few years later, they realized it didn't work. So they actually worked with Alipay, Alibaba, to leverage their payment system and online delivery system, etc. And they boost the economy, their business in China.
Okay, Xiaofeng, we have asked our audience how quickly do they see live streaming to take off in France. What would be your answer? We are going to discover them.
Yeah, actually, we recently did a research about the expansion of live streaming commerce. It started in China back to 2016, and because of COVID-19, we see the strong growth momentum in China. And since last year, it's growing quite fast across Asia Pacific and actually in the US and Europe as well. We know a lot of mainstream Western social media platforms or e-commerce platforms like Amazon or Instagram, they are already launched or are experimenting their live streaming commerce features. And we already seen Western brands such as the French retailer Fnac already launched actually more than 50 live streaming sessions on their own website. And these are early adopters, and they actually generated quite good business outcomes. And I think the lessons that brands learned in China, so they can actually replicate in the US, but also need to, I mentioned like localization is very important, right? So they need to understand different needs of French consumers. For example, French consumers, they don't like hours long live streaming sessions. They want everything to be very concise. So if they want to launch live streaming sessions in France, it has to be like 5 to 10 minutes. And also they want to, consumers expected to brands use local product experts as the host, because that will earn more trust from consumers. So, and also, so platforms are ready. Consumers actually, over 70% of consumers in Europe, they show interest in live streaming commerce. Consumers are ready and the brands are also ready. I think it won't take off as fast as in China. It will take much longer time because the maturity of e-commerce itself is different. In China, already 30 to 40% of retail business happening online, but in Europe, it's only 15%.
Yeah.
It will take time for consumers to get used to shopping online, let alone use live streaming commerce to buy products they want.
I think our community is ready because 83% of them see live streamings to take off in the next 6 months. So they totally agree. A very last and concise answer or question, as you say, because we have 1 minute. And it would be the question of our next guest. You say a word about COVID, and you are maybe a few weeks or months before us. What would be the new normal in China? What kind of behaviors that you observed during this year are going to stay? What can you say about this?
Yeah, so like consumers will continue to buy more products online. Before COVID-19, they are not used to buy luxury products online yet, but now they buy luxury products online. That's the new habit. And even so, in China, the market is already open. They can visit offline stores, but even like the Burberry example I mentioned, even when they visit offline stores, they tend to combine that with digital devices, digital channels. They use their mobile phones, WeChat program to reserve fitting rooms, and they use that to customize the fitting room. And they can also access to their previous engagement with the brand, and then they can find the best mix and match for themselves. So this would be enhanced experience. It's more like a hybrid shopping experience, and those new type of shopping experience will tend to stay, and consumers are welcome to that.
Thank you very much, Xiaofeng. We are going to keep on exploring this subject with our next guests and to talk about digital and local. And thank you very much for joining us from Singapore. Bye bye.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Sonia.